wish we had the nurse here.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh, and then I don't have the Arisen Strength slides up yet. How did I get that slideshow going last time?
And you're much better now, by the way. I hear you loud and clear.
Great, thanks. Photos. Photos directly out there. Serenely speaking.
Mm-hmm.
MS. No pictures in there.
Just do Arisen Strength on the contact page. Right there at Multiple Sclerosis. On the contact page. Not bullying. I don't want to see bullying for about a month now.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel like I'm being bullied by the subject.
Then screen share. There.
All right, ready?
I'm ready. I don't know. Is he ready?
I think that's everybody saying.
I see, Wayne. I see the thing up. I see Arisen Strength thing up now. It's just not up on the main.
We're live right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's up to you to start when you want to start.
Hello, everybody. Like I said, we were going to start right on the dot at 8 o'clock. That is the plan from now on, because I know that a few messages that I got was that they were there at 8 o'clock and we weren't. So that will not happen again. So I wanted to just say, and we're definitely learn, improve, share, and we're doing the best that we can in order to accommodate for everybody. What we're going to discuss tonight is multiple sclerosis. For those who don't know, March is the awareness month for multiple sclerosis. And so we're going to do our best in order to bring awareness to a very difficult disease, a very challenging condition to a lot of our members, both Arisen Strength family as well as the JGF organization and community, and Serenely Speaking. You know, it's a tough disease, and there's a lot to being somebody who has this condition for a lifetime right now, because there is no cure as it is today. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some things that we've all learned in order to be able to encourage, support, and empower our friends, our family, and you know, to make the best of the good days and to get through the struggling ones or the challenging ones. So with that being in mind, I'm going to introduce the panel. Joey Aquilino.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right.
Staten Island from the New York, so we have to go, yeah, how you doing all the time.
How you?
Anyways, Joey, how was your week?
My week was very good, actually. Got a lot done, JGF wise. You know, got you know, the trademarks finalized. It was very, very good week. You know, I have to say, since our last show, I've been doing a lot of shows this past week, but all successful shows this past week. So, yep, that's what I was doing.
Unfortunately, Crystal, we've not been able to have Crystal on the panel so far this evening. This seems to be a pattern, huh? We're always wondering, where is Crystal? But no, let me make this clear. Crystal would be here if she could be. We haven't heard from her. We are thinking about her. So we're hoping that she gets to be any part of the show because Crystal is also a nurse, which would be helpful when it comes to this type of show. But more importantly, we're just thinking about her, and we're hoping everything's okay. And hopefully we'll see her next week if we don't see her this one. Wayne is telling me, do not bother me.
I look frazzled.
Wayne is doing his best in order to produce the show. It's not the easiest thing in the world. We've got about 4 or 5 different computers going on. So he's doing his best, and we just appreciate everything that he does in regards to the sound and in regards to the cameras and the slides. And we'll get to him later on down the road here. So, Joey, you and I, multiple sclerosis. It's March Awareness Month for multiple sclerosis. Tell me what it is that the JGF organization is trying to do to bring awareness for multiple sclerosis.
Well, actually, we did a video today. Actually, Shane put a video out, which is a very great video, very informational video with a lot of great slides and a lot of great information. It's on my wall. If you want to take a look at it, you're more than welcome. He's posted it all over the place in the various JGF groups. That's one thing that we're going to do. Next year, we're going to plan on having MS Awareness Month on the radio, and we're going to bring on patients to talk about their MS experiences. Just like we do for RSD Awareness Month, we're going to do the same for MS Awareness Month and allow patients to come on and talk about their experiences with MS. We have a page out there on Facebook. It's an MS Awareness page. Please join that for more information. We post information on that wall every day. We will eventually have an MS group where people who have MS could meet each other, network with one another, talk about MS with one another, and so on and so forth. So JGF is going to be very active in the MS community.
Yeah, that's great. I got to tell you, doing the promotional video for the Awareness Month, it's always fun to do something like that, but this one it kind of hits me in the heart because I actually have some very dear friends and some family members that are challenged with this particular disease, and to learn more about it, it's really a simple concept, but it's anything but simple when it comes to dealing with it, when it comes to living with it. And for those who don't know, multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune disease, and it affects the brain, the optical nerve, as well as the spinal cord. And you can't get any more serious than these 3 things in the body. And what normally would be your ally when you're not feeling well or when you're having illness or some kind, the immune system, for some reason with people who have MS, the immune system actually works against them as to where it attacks the very thing that makes things work for all 3 of these systems. And it's really, I mean, in a science kind of view and medical point of view, I mean, it's really amazing on how the thing works. But to make a long story short, we all have nerve paths. We have billions of nerve paths within our brain, our spinal cord, and our optical nerve. And each nerve path has these neurons that are connected. Now, what connects these neurons together, because there's many different paths that they go, what connects the neurons together is the nerve path, and it's the axons, of which is in the middle of this fatty outer layer called the myelin sheath. Now, what this myelin sheath does is it actually protects that nerve path. It's almost, matter of fact, I use the example in the video. It's almost like an electrical cord. If you take an electrical cord and if you splice that electrical cord, you'll have the wires, the electrical wires, inside that hard rubber coating or plastic coating. Well, the myelin sheath is actually that plastic coating, and the axon is actually what the electrical wires would be on the inside. Now, what happens is that the immune system normally goes after our illness, normally goes after whatever is ailing us. But in this case, what it doesn't understand that the myelin sheath is actually part of that nerve path, and it literally attacks it and eats away at that outer layer. So just like anything else, if you have an electrical cord that's frayed, or if you have a cut or something like that, you'll notice that the electrical wiring inside starts to arc, and things just don't work right. And sometimes they can be dangerous. Sometimes it can either electrocute you, or it can catch on fire, whatever the case may be. Well, this is the case with the nerve path, because as the myelin sheath is splintered away from that wiring that's on the inside, it allows it and exposes that nerve path to the outer elements. And what happens is on that inner wiring on the inside of the nerve path starts arching or arcing, and next thing you know, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not working the way that it's supposed to. It's not performing the way that you need it to. And it's something that's not only very detailed in what it does. I mean, everything has to be done the exact way that this nerve path has to go. If it doesn't, then things don't work right. So when you got something that's actually eating away at the protective layer of that nerve path, well, that's not a good thing. And so that was pretty interesting. I always knew a little bit about it because, like I said, I've got friends and family who have this particular disease, and so I knew about it, but at the same time, I didn't know all about it, and I didn't know the details. Well, now I do, and I got to tell you, it's something that it's a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge in order to be able to help people to understand and to be able to bring their Arisen Strength out. But we're willing to take that challenge. And I know that the JGF community is more than willing to do so as well. So what do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, I'm definitely here to help every community, especially the chronic pain community. One thing people need to understand about autoimmune diseases, as I have one called RSD, is that sometimes autoimmune diseases come in packages. You have one, and it's easily susceptible that you could get others. I know RSD patients that have got fibro, that got MS through having RSD, because it's all basically dealing with the nervous system. In some way, all these particular autoimmune diseases deal with the nervous system. You also have to know with autoimmune diseases is that there's multi-symptom illnesses, okay? They're just not nervous system illnesses, okay? There are bladder problems you could get. There are bowel dysfunctions that you could get. There's depression from these disorders. There's pain and fatigue and emotional problems and itching and all kinds of different things you could get because these nervous problems basically lead to other things, unfortunately. You know, I got my IBS because of my RSD, you know. I never had IBS before, you know, but if you have a nervous system disorder, you could easily get other symptoms, other things, you know. And that's the same thing with MS, is that it starts in the brain or it starts in the spine, and it can spread to other parts of the body. So people need to understand that you just don't get one autoimmune disease. You can get many autoimmune diseases. You can get RSD, you can get IC, you could get RA. There's so many different ones you could get, and they all come as a package because once you get one, there's no stopping you getting another one. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you have to continue seeing your doctor, getting your medication, treating your symptoms. Don't treat the MS, treat the symptom, because there's too many symptoms in MS, okay? Just like there's so many symptoms in RSD, that if you treat the symptom, it's better if you treat the symptom rather than treating the MS, because in treating the MS, you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything by treating the MS. You have to treat the symptom that you got, you know? And that's the main thing with these autoimmune diseases, is that if you don't treat the symptom, one symptom could go away, but another symptom could get worse, you know. So that's what it is usually with MS or RSD or RA or IC, is that, you know, you treat one symptom and then the other symptom gets worse, so you have to treat the multi-symptoms. You know, there's a lot of different symptoms with MS, you know, so you have to treat each symptom of MS. So that's my point.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like you say, there are a lot of different symptoms when it comes to this disease of MS. And one thing that was kind of different that we did with the video as well is that we brought the idea that we're real quick to just call multiple sclerosis MS. And I know why. I mean, it's the initials. I get that. But this disease has been around for far too long, and it's something that, you know, for those who don't actually realize, multiple sclerosis was dating back in 1433, close, you know, far too long, and the idea that to just say that we're just going to call it by its initials. It came to my attention that, you know, a lot of people have heard about multiple sclerosis. A lot of people know people who have multiple sclerosis. There aren't very many people who know the ins and outs of multiple sclerosis, unless you have it, or you actually are a supporter of somebody who has it. And, you know, Wayne actually brought it to my attention. You know, it is the fact that we intentionally said in the beginning of the video, MS, 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 because that's what everybody knows. And then I brought it out as to where, is it possible that we're actually using these initials not only because it's easier to say and it's a quick, you know, catchy thing, or is it also maybe that we're actually trying to shield ourselves from knowing what really multiple sclerosis is all about, and you know, for what it is that people go through and what they're challenged and on a day in and day out basis. And you know, of course, then we had to play it the other way, as to where at the end of the video we only said multiple sclerosis. We didn't bring the word MS because we were given the respect that it needed, that I feel that it's necessary, because this is a serious, serious condition. It's not a joke in any way. And like I said, it was going to be a challenge, and I felt that it would be a challenge in order to find that arisen strength. And you want to know where I found it? I found it from people who actually have MS. You know, I mean, I literally was having a tough time. I was saying, okay, well, Shane, all right, you know, it's time to walk the walk, you know, and not just talk the talk. And, you know, how are you going to do that? Well, you know, and I'm saying to myself, well, you know, I mean, I can motivate people. I am a motivating speaker, you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help somebody, you know, that goes through the things that they go through. And there's plenty of different illnesses that are out there, you know, whether they're invisible illnesses or not. You know, there are plenty that are out there that are similar. But this one just really hits me, like I said, you know, because I know some people who are very close to me that have it. And, you know, what it took for me to understand it a little bit more and how I was going to be able to help people was going on YouTube and going and the internet and finding research for different videos of people who have MS. And I got to tell you, these are the strongest people in the world. You know, I mean, forget about, you know, mixed martial arts and forget about, you know, bodybuilders and all this. These people are the strongest people on earth. I mean, what some of them have gone through that I've watched, it's, you know, when somebody has a remitting or relapsing acute MS, paralysis is not out of the ordinary. And, you know, it's like watching these people, you know, go through their process as to where they were actually paralyzed, or they were actually, you know, couldn't move. They couldn't to be able to communicate that they wanted to, right? And yet, every little increment of change was a victory, and that was so cool to watch. You know, it was captivating, you know, as to where these people would, you know, if they moved a millimeter, they had a smile on their face. If I move a millimeter, I am angry. You know what I mean? It's like, I am sitting there and I am saying, move now. You know what I mean? It's like, and I would drive myself crazy. And I was watching these videos, and I got to tell you, just the increment of the smallest of measurements made somebody smile, because they realized that they weren't beaten by this disease. And that was just so cool, and it was something that helped me. And you know, hopefully it'll help me in the future when I learn about more people who have MS, and you know, just to learn, you know, about the human condition, the human nature of somebody who's battling something that you have no idea about, and they're making it through, you know. And so that was just so cool. So I'm actually going to bring Wayne in now, because he's been far too quiet too long, and we have too long of a show. So without Crystal, you know, we need help.
I don't know that I could ever replace Crystal, or that I'd even want to try. But yeah, the invisible nature of it. I mean, there's a, you know, sort of the obvious thing that you see when people are struggling physically, but because the nervous system can be so affected so different way. Hold on. Because of the way the nervous system is affected, you know, and depending on, you know, where the sclerosis is happening, where the scarring is piling up, you know, and the severity, different parts of the nervous system getting affected, then this person could be suffering in ways that are not obvious to anybody else, but are so, you know, critical just to our daily function. You know, basic appetites. You know, just we talked about bowel control. on and on and on and on, all the things that you don't ever think about that are just beyond your sort of just moving around, which is the obvious one. It's all those other things. The invisible nature of it is just so insidious, and especially when it's not that there's ever a good time or a bad time, but when it starts impacting you in those less obvious ways early and severely, a lot of times people look at you like, oh, you're not really handicapped. You're looking for, and you have to kind of deal with that. And people have heard of MS, but like you were saying, do we really know that, the MS, what the multiple sclerosis is really referring to? And I thought that your informational video, the PSA for the awareness month that JGF and Arisen Strength were promoting, I think it really did a great job of providing some education. Basic education to this disease. It's been around for so long. He said it impacted so many lives. I learned a lot just watching you make the video. It was just a learning experience, and it kind of gets me wanting to go out and learn more about autoimmune diseases in general. Because that's when your body turns against you. I can't think of many things that are worse than that. We're so keen on protecting ourselves. No matter how bad the world gets, at least I can protect myself if I have to. And this autoimmune disease is your body turning against you, and there's no escape. Without the research dollars that are going on, without the efforts and the support of everybody out there for people who are suffering and dealing with these challenges, and they're making progress. Sometimes it feels painfully slow, and I get that. But it really is some progress, and it's getting there. But we have to stay aware, keep an eye on what's going on in the relative to these diseases. Promote it with your friends. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to do a little bit of extra research yourself on it, and try to maybe get to know some of these people who suffer from autoimmune diseases, and in particular MS, which we're talking about tonight. I think there are the ones that kind of came to my head, celebrity-wise, because celebrities, they're great for bringing awareness to diseases, especially when they're afflicted by them. And the two that came to my mind, and maybe this kind of dates me and tells you who I am, but they're the ones that we snuck into the video: Annette Funicello and Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
But I was really shocked and surprised to look at Wikipedia has a list of celebrities with multiple sclerosis. I think it was Wikipedia, but I was seeing a list, and there's some young people, some people from race car drivers to singers to actors, people in the business world who deal with this, and it's out there. And it's somebody in your circle of interest probably has it. If it's not in your personal life, within your circle of interest, there's somebody who's dealing with this, and it's nice to know a little bit about what they go through. It makes me feel a little bit more connected, and like, hey, it brings it home, and really makes me want to talk about it a little bit more, and at least learn about it a little bit more, so we could do the learn, improve, share. That's my little line. Yeah, but I can't do the sharing part really until I've done the learning part and then thought about it. That's the improvement part. And having conversations like this where we get a little bit of information, we exchange a little information, and then we'll leave this show tonight, and then we'll bring the message out to a wider audience, in our personal lives and on our personal pages, and we, of course, invite you to do the same. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Hey, what about MS? You can ask it of us. We're going to have a contact page at the end. You can contact me if you can figure out who I am. I'm sure the other panel members feel the same way. Or just don't be afraid to ask other people who are close to you in your lives. And then be willing to branch off to other things. I said to the autoimmune and then the whole wide range of issues that we're going to be talking about on Arisen Strength is really about that taking charge. Taking ownership and what is it, powering through, and really recapturing or capturing for the first time for a lot of people that strength and that power to rise up and be the best you that you can be, and don't be held back by it, and don't be defined by other perceived weaknesses, other people's perceived weaknesses of you, or what other people tell you are your disabilities, what other people tell you are your diseases. Don't be held back by that, and but you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
We're here to as like Shane likes to say, support, encourage and empower, and then at the end of the day, we're going to celebrate. Because as you cross the finish line, we're going to be cheering there with you. Or as you finish the first leg of your journey, we're going to be cheering you on, and we're going to be with you, and other people will be with you throughout the rest of that journey. So there's a lot of support, a lot of empowerment, and certainly a lot of celebration. I'm looking forward to our journey on Arisen Strength.
Yeah, I totally am too. And you make a good point. This disease, just like many of them, it does not discriminate. I know a number of people who I know. I'm willing to guess that the majority of us know somebody, whether we realize it or not. Like Wayne said, some of the symptoms, they don't really show that they're in for the fight of their life. And some of them are very subtle, but no fun and no less struggling and frustrating than what it is that you would expect. Now I know that we're being really informational tonight, because we did do an informational awareness video, but I did it on purpose too, because like I say to everybody when I talk about Arisen Strength, we're not here in order to basically paint with a wide brush and say everything's going to be fine, and you can do it, and you can get over this and make it through. That's not what Arisen Strength is about. Arisen Strength as a concept is to acknowledge what people go through on a daily basis. Acknowledge their challenge, acknowledge their struggle. Okay? We're not looking to change things. We're not looking to say, hey, if you did this, then you would be better. That's not what we do. What we do is we acknowledge you, we validate you, we validate how it is that you feel. We know that there are tough times. I mean, everybody on the panel, when we did the meet and greet, everybody on the panel has something that they can relate to, that they have feelings, thoughts, and struggles that aren't necessarily looked at the same way from one person to another person. But here with Arisen Strength, you're going to be acknowledged that you do have a situation, whatever that may be, that had kept you from being able to attain your dreams, or stopped your talent, or suppressed that capability that you have within you to be able to perform at an exceptional way. That's why Arisen Strength was made, because we're talking about things that suppress us. But then we have our fun, because our fun is that we start talking about how we're going to support you. We start talking about how we're going to encourage you. We're going to empower you. And then we're damn well going to celebrate with you, because that is what Arisen Strength is about. Joey, what do you think about that?
I think that's great, and JGF basically has the same mantra, but we also try to help people through their pain. Being that I went through pain for a good 6 months, 6 years, I should say. The first 6 months actually was really horrible. That's why I brought up 6 months. But 6 years worth of pain and continuous pain, okay? People need to understand that, with these autoimmune diseases, they're not curable, okay? But we can, and we do have treatments out there that can assist and help quell, the issues with the various autoimmune diseases, including MS. Okay, and that's why you need to go and research for yourself on Google, typing in multiple sclerosis, I can't say it, MS, okay? And you go there, and I actually have the National MS Society website up right now, and it gives you so much information. And you got to go there, ladies and gentlemen. Go there and go to other websites out there that you could find information on your particular disorder, okay? What I wanted to bring up, what Wayne was saying about Richard Pryor and Annette Folicello, those are two massive cases of MS. There are so many people walking around that you don't even know have MS, okay? Such as the Osborne kid. You really don't see anything wrong with him, you know?
Well, let's not go too far.
No, I'm just saying. Hey, listen.
I can only help so much.
I know. I'm just saying. Physically, you don't see.
No, he's actually turned out to be a pretty responsible kid. So
yeah, he's done very well for himself.
He is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he did. He's married. I think he's got a kid now. So yeah, I think he grew up a little bit, from the television days. You know what I'm saying? But you don't really see symptoms in him. Like you saw in Richard Pryor. They really got disintegrated. Those poor people. They got disintegrated to the point where they were in wheelchairs, and then they couldn't eat. They couldn't swallow. And that's the bad side of MS. That's why they say, you can live with MS, you can live with all those autoimmune diseases, because, the autoimmune disease will not kill you. Guess what will kill you? You will kill you if you want to, because that's the biggest killer of autoimmune disease people is, unfortunately, the mental. And that's where Shane comes in. He knows more about the mental side of things, and that's sort of what Arisen Strength, I believe, is to try to get people back mentally, and I think, the mental part of any autoimmune disease kills them more than the physical does. All the pain that you have, and I've had immense pain, like 7, 8, 9, 10 pain, okay, and I tried numerous different things. I have RSD, I don't have MS, but still, it don't matter. With these autoimmune diseases, there's still pain in MS. There's a lot of different pains. There's still pain in MS. So that's why all of these autoimmune diseases basically sort of mirror each other. They're just in different parts of the body, and they affect different parts of the nervous system. And me being an advocate for chronic pain patients and RSD patients, I did my research, obviously, and you could obviously hear what my research is right now, because I'm, some people say I sound like a doctor. Well, I'm not a doctor, I'm an advocate, and advocates have to do their research to be an advocate, don't they? So, I mean, like, how could I be an advocate?
Tell me about it.
How could I be an advocate, you know what I'm saying, if I didn't do my research? I do research every day on Google, So when you look at Richard Pryor and Annette Folicello, those are the worst scenarios of MS patients. There's so many MS patients that are walking around and they look perfectly fine, and you would never know they have MS. Same thing with RSD patients. Same thing with RSD, same thing with fibro, same thing with all these autoimmune diseases, okay, is that you got the worst side of things, and you got the good side of things, where you have MS and it's more controlled, and you're able to live and able to walk around and able to do things, again, with RSD, there's bed-bound patients, there's wheelchair-bound patients, so again, that's the bad side of things. Then you got people like me that have, concentrated RSD, where it don't spread, it's concentrated in my left foot, left ankle, and that's it, so again, it's everybody's body type, and everybody has to understand that not everybody's going to have the same MS, not everybody's going to have the same RSD or any other autoimmune disease. you know. So that's why we call it a unique experience, because everybody has their own unique experience, you know. And when it comes down to it, JGF wants to promote those experiences, and just like we do with RSD, next year during MS Awareness Month, which I did forget to announce at the beginning of the show here, is that we want faces of MS. We want people to come on video and talk about their MS experiences, and we're going to bulk those together. We're going to put it in one video. We're going to put their faces in one video, and we are going to have a video made up, Faces of MS, during MS Awareness Month, just like we do with RSD, and just like we're going to do with fibro and all the other autoimmune diseases out there. Okay, we are going to do that for MS during March, and I think that in itself, because of the unique experiences that people go through, they will be able to talk about their experiences on air, and then they will be able to get their face put on the video. You know, so I think that is the face of MS. Then you will see the face of autoimmune disease, when all autoimmune diseases are invisible disorders. You do not see the pain, you know, but you can see some of the symptoms. Okay, that's the thing, is that mostly all autoimmune diseases are invisible disorders, and that's why we get put down so much. And that's why our mental is not in check with our physical, and not in check with our emotional, and not in check with our spiritual, because we get put down so much because people can't see what's wrong with us, you know. And that's where the mental comes in, Shane, you know, and why so many autoimmune disease patients, including RSDers, kill themselves every year, is because they either can't get their medications, or the pain is just too much for them to handle. So again, it's not the MS that kills so many with autoimmune disease. It's the mental. It's the depression. It's the anxiety, and it's the panic.
Yeah. No, I understand that what it is that you're saying, and you're right. You know, with it being invisible, it's something that it's never going to be understood the way that it is within the person that has it. That's just the bottom line. I mean, I used to have somebody who I care for greatly, to where, you know, she had intravenous line that had to be there for her, you know, probably once a week, 1 week out of the month, a full week. She had gone blind in one eye numerous times because of optic neuritis, you know, which is one of the, you know, the results of MS. And that's another thing is that the symptoms, they keep on going in and out. They don't always stay there, you know. So it's this person that I'm talking about. I mean, she'd have her good days, and she would have her bad days, but her bad days were really bad, you know. And that's something that just would break my heart, to really know about and see firsthand. You know, and then I have my my Uncle Davey, basically. He's my best friend in the world. He's a little bit older than I am. He's been part of our family for forever, and he was diagnosed with MS at a very young age, at around, I want to say, 6 years old. And he actually had braces on his legs. And he actually, one day, he just decided that he was going to take them damn things off. You know, when he was around 7 or 8 years old. And he, you know, his mother almost had a heart attack when she watched him taking these braces off. But I mean, if you knew this guy, you would know it's not out of the realm that was going to happen, because he didn't want his life to be determined by his illness. I mean, he was stubborn as all could be, and and he just decided in his head that MS or not, it wasn't going to stop him. Now that's not everybody. And I'll tell you right now, as stubborn as he is, as proud as he is, he struggled with MS. He struggles to this day. He even struggles a little bit worse now because he got older. His gait's off a little bit more. He has to take a shot once a week. He's taken different chemotherapy treatments, in order to try to slow it down. Because as Joey mentioned, there is no cure for this disease right now. They're working on it. They are doing a lot of research. Vitamin D, you're going to hear a lot about, within the very near future, because it seems to be getting some favorable results in a lot of ways, not just with this disease, but also with other diseases. And environmental factors, too, of which we never know about until we have something. And then, then it's like, oh, well, if you didn't live underneath this power line, you wouldn't have this, that type of thing. And but getting back to Davey, I got to tell you, as he lived a great life. He's still living. He's not gone. He lived a great life. I mean, he had his struggles, he had his challenges and everything, and just like everybody else, plus his illness. But he was a railroad man for many, many years. He was in the union. I can't go to dinner anywhere without somebody recognizing him. I mean, it doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter whether I go to Burger King, whether I go to Testo's, or whether I go to, Villa Valeni, whatever. He is always recognized by somebody. And then he's also recognized for his golf swing. I hate him for his golf swing. I mean, I actually love him to death. But, to watch this swing time in and time out, I mean, he doesn't even have to hit the ball. I'm like, pick up the ball, drive in the middle of the fairway, drop it. That's all. I mean, we joke about it. The man can hardly stand on one leg, on one of his legs. And yet, he hits the ball better than I do, and I used to be actually considered on the road to being, minor pro. This guy puts me to shame when it comes to placing the ball around the course. Of course, I have to bomb it past him just to get some satisfaction, every once in a while. But when we're checking scores, it's hard for me to beat this man.
They say drive for show, putt for dough.
Oh my God, his short game and his putting is insane. And what's worse, when he doesn't do too well, who does he come to? Me. I'm supposed to fix him. I'm supposed to give him an idea as to, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing this? Are you kidding me? You think I'm going to tell you anything? I mean, you got to be kidding. But I love him to death, and I couldn't have this show without mentioning him, because I am just so proud of him for what it is that he's gone through, and what he continues to go through. Like I said, as he gets older, his symptoms are a little bit more challenging. He's actually woken up in bed as to where his legs didn't move, and it was for a significant period of time. But he lived a full life, and he continues to do so. And so, so I wanted to make sure to mention him on that. Another thing that we were talking about celebrities. Ever since he came out, and right from the beginning, Montel Williams was somebody who I idolized. I couldn't tell you why. He was just the coolest cat. You know what I mean? He's a talk show host, but he didn't fool around with, what's for ratings and what's this and he's not like a Jerry nonsense. He talked about some tough subjects, and he empowered a lot of people, and I think that's why I liked him from the very beginning. Well, about 10 years ago, he was diagnosed with MS. And, I was watching a video not too long ago, actually going to give up. He was at the point of giving up because his MS symptoms are significant. And 2 years ago, he was about ready to say, I'm done. I'm going to be in a wheelchair. But now, what he does, and anybody who either has MS or an autoimmune disease, or a supporter of anybody who has MS or an autoimmune disease, I recommend that you see this video that's on YouTube, and it's Montel Williams discussing multiple sclerosis. And one thing that he mentions about multiple sclerosis is inflammation. Mm-hmm. This seems to be the main problem when it comes to the symptoms, is inflammation. That's where your pain comes from. That's where it's from. That's where your gait gets thrown off. Whether it be physically from your skin, with the brain pressure, as well as the nerve paths and your central nervous system. So he was talking about, do whatever you can do. And he does a lot of different things, and he's a celebrity. He can afford a lot of different things that some people just can't afford. But his thing, what he tried to say was go back to fruits and vegetables. Watch your diet. Now, I could talk about the diet on this show. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to talk about it. I mean, it's like there's not a damn thing that somebody can eat and not be worried about something. So, what I suggest is that you get with your doctor. Because as I said from the very beginning with this show, we're not a doctor, we are not a therapist, we are not here to replace those professions. We're here to encourage and to support the person that they are trying to help. That's what Arisen Strength does. So I suggest that do everything that you can and whether it be roots, vegetables, fruits, whatever it takes in order to take down the inflammation. That is the key to a lot of the different symptoms of this disease and other autoimmune diseases as well. We're going to get to our celebration for the evening. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and check out with the panel. Crystal, Crystal's not here. But I know she wants to be. But I'm going to start off with Wayne. Wayne, I want to say thank you for all that you do.
Welcome, thank
you. We made some improvements on this show, so I'm very impressed. So, what do you have to say for this show?
The inflammation is really it's the key one, and I'll just reiterate it a little bit because important things should be repeated. Because that inflammation, that's really just any inflammation in general is you're going to work at what it's trying to do, and it sort of results in inflammation in the body. And when you have multiple sclerosis or any other autoimmune disease, you end up with a lot of inflammation because your immune system is doing a lot of things. It's working overtime, but it's doing a lot of things it shouldn't be doing, So you take these anti-inflammatories, and what the anti-inflammatories are doing, it's the most basic thing. It's the simplest immune system. The idea of when you take anti-inflammatories, you're actually beating down your immune system so it's not doing whatever it was doing that was causing the inflammation. So, when you're treating inflammation, especially with medications, you are suppressing your immune system. And when you're doing that, you have to make sure that you're doing all the right things naturally to keep your immune system strong. So this is where the balanced diet, the roots and the vegetables, reading in and looking at what your immune system does, and seeing what are the natural chemicals, vitamins, minerals that your body needs, and then and any doctor will tell you the best way to get all those things is not a pill, is to get them from food. I mean, we evolved from single-cell animals to complex humans, and taking advantage of removing chemicals from foods and getting those vitamins and minerals and things into our body from foods. A lot of times you take these pills, your body can get some of them, but what they refer to as the bioavailability. Sometimes that stuff just goes right through you. You're taking, some of these pills, it's loaded with the thing that you need, but can your body get it out of there is the key. Your body is designed to get it out of foods, and so these fruits and vegetables, to keep your immune system strong while you're taking medications to sort of beat it down. You really have to be really careful. And Joey can probably talk a lot more about that since he does deal with chronic pain. This is what that made me think about. I just thought I'd repeat that. And sorry that everybody had to hear about inflammation twice like that, but I think it's an important thing to think about.
Yeah, I think so too. Joey, we got a little bit of time before we do our celebration. Did you want to say one last thing in regards to the show?
Yeah, one last thing. There are two types of people when it comes to autoimmune diseases. The people that lay on the bed and say, woe's me, and the people that stand up and be warriors. I want everybody to be a warrior, and that's what we fight for, with JGF and Arisen Strength, is we want people to be warriors. We want people to fight their diseases and not give up, and that is the goal for every autoimmune disease, including MS. Never give up. Always fight. Always fight. Be a warrior. With me, it's a war with my body. I am at war with these pain cells, or this pain. I am at war with it, and I am a warrior. First 2 years, maybe I wasn't much of a warrior, but the last 4 years plus, I'm a warrior. I'm a positive warrior. I've created all these wonderful things on the internet, and I am an advocate for chronic pain patients, and that's what makes me who I am, and that's why I'm so proud of what I've become and what I'm doing, and I just want everybody to know to be that warrior. Don't be that person that lays on the bed and say, woe's me, Don't be that person. And you, within yourself, know that you can't be that person. But you have to get that will to get up and say, I'm going to fight. Don't be that person that says, woe's me. Be that warrior. I'm done.
Thank you. So now we're going to go to our celebration real quick, but I'm not going to hurry it. Because I think it's important to talk about our celebrations. I was on the YouTube looking at different motivational videos and so forth, and I ran up against this one video, and I'm going to tell you what it is. It's called Multiple Sclerosis, BRIA's, that's B as in boy, R as in Robert, E as in Edward, E as in Edward, A as in Anthony, apostrophe S. Story. And what it is that this young lady, Bria, has remitting MS. She was actually paralyzed at a very young age, not in her teenage years. And so I'm not going to go over the whole story because it's about 15 minutes long. But let me tell you something. You want to look at it. You want to take a look at it because you're not going to leave it. Because it's really amazing because her mom decides to go ahead and video a lot of what Bria went through in regards to her MS. And one of the things that I always try to say to people who are thinking about Arisen Strength or haven't heard about Arisen Strength is that this is also for the supporters of those who are struggling with the challenges that people face. You know, the parents, the friends, the brothers, sisters, whatever the case may be. Arisen Strength is for those people as well, because we're trying to give you information of what a patient feels like, goes through, and we're trying to give you information that you otherwise didn't know, in order to be as helpful as possible, because I fully believe that our supporters want to be as helpful as possible when it comes to any type of illness. And one thing that this show that I'm talking about, which is, again, it's Bria's story, she was in the hospital, and they decided that they were going to do a secret mission. And that secret mission was oceanfront mission. And what it is that the hospital wasn't too far from the oceanfront where they were at. And they literally broke her out of the hospital in a wheelchair and wheeled her way over to the ocean so that she could get a view of the ocean, get out in the sun, feel the breeze, see the sand, whatever the case may be. And I thought that was just so cool. That, you know, I mean, for somebody to care about somebody and to know that they're not doing really well, even being in a facility that's meant to help them. You know, it's like Wayne said, it's not about a pill. It's not always about medication. Sometimes it's helping the human spirit and helping the heart, and it has to come from the heart. Family really supported this girl through her struggle with MS. And then this video, the funniest thing in this video was she's learning how to walk again, and there's parallel bars of which you hold on to for stability, and you walk. Well, you can't be there unless if you're supervised. So there's this nurse that's with her, with Bria. So Bria's standing there, all of a sudden starts having a conversation with another nurse. Bria looks over to the nurse, and next thing you know, she takes off like she was a drag racer, going right down the path. I mean, she just took off. It was just so funny, you know. And it was one of those things. It was just like she just took ownership. She didn't care whether her nurse was there to watch her. She didn't care if anybody was on the other end. She didn't care if anybody was on the other side. She only cared about taking ownership of her condition, of her treatment, and she walked her way to the end of that row as if like she was a champ. And it was just so funny and amazing, and it really just, it hit me. Those types of things hit me. And that's what, you know, I have no doubt that she's able to do that because she doesn't feel suppressed. Because she knows that she has a supporting family that's there for her. That's there. I mean, they did a lot of little things. You gotta look at the video. They did a lot of little things in order to just make her feel hey, you are no different than any other kid. You need to have some fun. Whether you're in the hospital or whether you're home, you got to have some fun. And this family really did that. And, you know, I have no doubt that it made Bria that much stronger and that much more capable. And that's what Arisen Strength is really all about. So I want to say thank you. We're going to close it up now. You know, I do want to say one more time, you know, we're thinking about Crystal. We haven't heard from her in a while. You know, so we're thinking about her. And, you know, for those who have this terrible disease of multiple sclerosis, you know, you're not alone. You're not alone anymore, that's for sure. Because you have a large network base that's looking out for you. And, you know, and that goes for other illnesses and autoimmune diseases. So I'm going to wrap it up now. My name is Shane Schulz. This is Arisen Strength. I would say that I know how you feel. Good night.
Good night, folks.
Good night.